Hi, this is Bill with Burromax Mini Bikes. We're here in the shop today to do some how-to videos and hopefully get you some good instruction on some of the problems or issues and maintenance things that come up with the TT Mini Bikes. Okay, so this one we're going to change the tube in it, okay? When we go back together, we'll adjust the chain, we'll adjust the brake. So this is going to be like an encompassing video. Alright, we're fixing a flat. And remove our chain guard, chain cover. 17 millimeter, 12 millimeter. Take our axle nut loose. Take our nut off, our washers. Get our axle to come loose a little bit. Pull it out so far. Get your spacer, your axle adjuster. See how it's offset? It goes back in offset. Like that. Pull our axle out. Your axle on your adjuster part. You can pull your wheel, slide the chain off, and pull your wheel right out. Leave your caliper bolted tight right here. Keeps the caliper in place for you. I always remove the sprocket because it's the hardest thing to deal with. To get the old tube out, I just use a big screwdriver. Be careful around the rim not to scratch it up. Second screwdriver, just pry your tire up. Just kind of like changing a bicycle. Once you get it coming around, push your tube in, pull your tire all the way to one side, and get that valve core up out of it, and your tire just slips right off. So now we got the tire off. We take our old tube out. We put our new tube in. Tough it all around the tire there, get it all inside. And then we want to put just a little bit of air in it. I mean, just a little bit too. Okay. Put just a little bit of air in the tube to hold it in place in the tire. A little bit of Windex. Find where our valve core goes in the wheel. We'll put that baby right in there and just push it over and it falls right on. You pull it back and get the outside bead here in and just kind of pull it down and push this in. Pops right on. There you are. Ready to put air in. There, now it's coming out like it's supposed to. "50 pounds of air, 50 psi. Put our valve cap on. The sprocket should be running the same direction as the disc on the other side. If you see the cutouts here, the way they're shaped, they should be shaped the same. Putting it back together. We have the adjusters and they're offset. And that adjuster goes in there. Like this. There's the offset. Get this slider disc right in between the. Get your axle situated. Slide it right in there. Only go part way in. Put your chain back on. We got our spacer. Slide that baby right up in there. Now we want to loosen our brake mount. And that's this guy right here. We left it tight so that it was easy to put the wheel back in. But now that the wheel's in, we want to loosen it up to make it easy to put our adjuster back in place on the other side. So you grab your disc and the swing arm like this. You got your adjuster, you got the offset in it. It goes on the inside of the rear fork, right in between the spacer and the fork. Push your, you gotta push it through it correctly. Should come through just like that. And washer and lock, washer and nut. Now we need to readjust the chain, or we need to adjust the chain. Chain's got way too much slack in it. Adjust this. These have got flats. There's 6 flats on a hex. Get it? Yep. Alright, so. Okay, so. We want to keep our adjusters equal. Look down. Lengthy adjusters are equal. So you only move them 1 flat at a time. 1 flat, 1 flat. And your chain adjustment. This is too tight. The 750 got to preload it a little bit, so you got to pull just a little bit on it to get a real feel of where you're at. And that's in the loose spot. And this is in the tight spot. So as you can see, this is the tight spot, and this is where we want to know where our play is. So we need like a 1/2 inch of free play in the tight spot. It's very tight there. You can see it's too tight. So we're going to loosen it up 1 flat. That's good. So that's our tightest spot. You got to preload the wheel on a 750 just a little bit because the magnets are so strong in the motor. It's keeping that chain, gives you a false impression. So it looks like it's really loose in most areas, but when you come around here to a tight spot, it's only got like a 1/2 inch. That's where we want it. Now we tighten it up the axle. Double check it. See it tightened up a little bit. Here in the loose spot, it's floppy loose. But here in the tight spot, it's tight. So we find our tight spot now, which is easy to tell because it's tight. So right there is tight. We want to loosen this up just a little bit. And if you hold pressure on the chain, then it'll give you that. And all you're doing is taking slack out of everything. And that's our tight spot right there. And if you load it just a little bit, you can see that's the play. So that chain's got the proper adjustment. Even though on the back side here on the loose spot, it's got that much play. When I come around to the tight spot, it's got the right amount. And that's where we want it. Now after this bike's been ridden for quite a while and stuff, the chain and the sprockets will wear in a little bit, and the loose and tight spot won't be so pronounced. But right now, this is the way it is. Now let's adjust our brake. Last but not least, tighten your brake mount. Now the chain adjustment is complete. So now we're going to adjust our brake. Our brake here is handle comes all the way back. It's not stopping. We got it adjusted here already out. We're adjusted out down here. So let's do a complete readjust to this brake. We're going to run all these adjusters back in. All the way back in. We're going to start at 0 here. I don't know if you can see. Alright, so our rear pad's wore. We want to move our rear pad in a little ways. Use a ball end, Allen wrench, and if you can see through there, you see the Allen plug in the very back, right here. You see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to adjust that in. Just about a half a turn is usually what it takes. And that'll push this rear pad in toward the disc. Let's get it set up here. And I'm just going to give this thing about a half a turn. Usually it only takes a quarter to a half a turn for an initial. And the gap should be pretty much going away. Mm-hmm. All right, you bring it. So, and what you want is the thickness of that pad to be about the same thickness as the disc sticking out. So we got a good thing. Now we're going to set the screws. So this screw here and this screw here, they both have springs on them, and they're made to adjust this caliper this way, in and out. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring that rear pad right up to the disc to where it's just got a faint little bit of air through it. We don't want it sitting on the disc, but we want it right next to it. So here, look at this here. Can you see the air in it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so actually it's set pretty good. But to adjust it, this screw moves the caliper in and out, and this screw moves the caliper in and out. So I want to bring this, look through here, and I want to bring that caliper right up to it equally. Where I got just a thin bit of air through there. Oh yeah. So you want to thin little area. Here, let me show you with the, while you're videoing, I'll move it. Get the air gap. Yeah, pull that up to where it's just almost touching, but not quite touching. Just like that. Now, the wheel rolls freely. My rear pad's adjusted in. Now I want to adjust my outer pad in toward the disc a little bit. 10mm wrench. You loosen. You got your gray plug on here, so you took your gray plug off. 10mm wrench loosens up this lock nut. Okay, so a 2.5mm Allen wrench fits this little inner screw, and we want to run it in. Hold your jam nut, run it in until it touches, and then back it up about a quarter turn, and then lock your little jam nut. Lock your jam nut. Then check your handle. Now we got a perfect handle. And more importantly, when we roll the wheel, it's free. See how free that is? This chain's a brand new, so it's got a lot of lube on it. But our motor's used, and we didn't lube it, so we're going to lube the motor shaft on this one. Okay. Always lube the chain, and every time you do, lube that motor. Put our chain guard back on. There you go. Now let's adjust our brake.